The 6 skills you need to be a good product photographer. It doesn't matter what gear you have, if you can acquire these 6 skills, you'll go far in the product photography business. My name is Chris Pieta, and on this channel, I teach creative business and product photography. Today, we're covering the 6 skills you need in order to be a great product photographer. I've been doing this for years, and these skills have been paramount in my ability to improve consistently and take better and better product photos. Let's get into it. Right off the bat, we're talking about the most important skill on the entire list. You need to be willing to learn. If you only have one skill off this list starting out, make it this one. If you're willing to learn, then you can learn all the other skills on this list. But if you're closed-minded and you already think you're the best, you will fail. There's always something more you can learn. If you're an absolute beginner, your mind should be like a sponge, absorbing all the information you can from the right sources. And if you're a pro, everyone still has something they can teach you. Emerson said it best: "In my walks, every man I meet is my superior in some way. And in that, I learn from him." Now, this quote is coming from one of the greatest people of that era, and yet he still found a way to learn from people. Your willingness to learn will take you from a mediocre photographer to a great photographer. When you go from street photographer to product photographer, there are going to be so many new skills that you will have to learn. As long as you stay curious and have an open mind, you'll go far. Being technically skilled is a necessity. You're working with computers, cameras, lights, and flash triggers. Product photography is technically challenging. All of this goes over your head when you start out, but you're still willing to learn, you'll do fine. We're going to be going back to that first skill a lot today. A good camera is a complex beast. You need to be able to understand focal length, aperture, ISO, focus settings, and shutter speed, just to name a few. All these technical aspects come together in product photography to create beautiful, high-quality images for your clients. You need to be able to produce the best content possible, and if you're not technically skilled, you will fail. Learning how a camera works is just a piece of the puzzle though. You'll need to learn how editing programs work, how to organize files on a computer, how to share your photos with clients. You're going to need to have a knowledge of studio lighting too. All of this can be learned. I learned all this technical stuff from YouTube, from books, and just trying it over and over again, failing and working towards it until I got a result that I was happy with. I still remember when I was starting out and learning about studio lighting. I had no experience with this whatsoever. I bought a cheap flash and an umbrella diffuser, and I just started using it to figure it out. I sat my girlfriend down in front of the camera and tried taking portraits with a bunch of different lighting setups to see what worked, what looked good, and what didn't. With the help of the internet, I was able to learn more and eventually nail down that technical skill. If you're not technically skilled now, don't worry. As long as you have an open mind and you're passionate about learning more about this, you'll be fine. Being a good problem solver is important in so many aspects of life, product photography included. Rarely will a photo shoot go exactly the way you want it to. You might be photographing a glass bottle with a lighting setup you've done hundreds of times before. This time though, there's a nasty reflection on that bottle. It doesn't look good and the client won't be happy. Time to think and figure out how to solve that issue. You can try moving the light around, you can try using a different diffuser, maybe you'll angle the bottle a bit to avoid that reflection, or maybe you'll just decide to remove it in Photoshop. You'll encounter problems like this over and over again during your product photography career. You need to be willing to solve the problems. If something doesn't go your way, don't throw in the towel. Instead, put that thinking cap on and figure out how to solve that issue. Maybe you drop your 85mm lens on a shoot and it breaks. You're left with your 50mm. Do you use that and crop in, or do you wait for the 85mm to get repaired? Maybe this will be a good learning opportunity and you'll learn that it's actually not the focal length that affects compression, it's the distance from your camera sensor to the subject that affects compression. You're also going to deal with a lot of issues with clients. The client wants a photo a certain way, but you know that it will look bad in reality. Do you explain to the client why the photo won't be good? Do you take the photo and then show it to them? Do you try and bend the client's idea so that it looks good? There are a lot of ways to approach this problem, and it will be up to you to think of a good game plan to solve it. Being a good problem solver will take you far in this business. Having an attention to detail is a requirement for product photography. If you're doing a white background shot of something, the product needs to look perfect. If you're photographing a can, are there dents in it? Is there dust on it? Are there fingerprints that need to be wiped off? Is the product perfectly centered, or do you need to rotate it just a millimeter? These are all things you're expected to pay attention to when shooting product photos. Clients are paying you a lot of money to get the photos right. They expect them to be perfect. When you're in Photoshop, you're going to need to be zooming in and making sure to remove all the blemishes from the products. Before you send the client the final edits, you'll need to review everything again to make sure they're the highest quality possible. Is the lighting consistent in all of your edits? Are the blue hues all the same type of blue? There are so many little details the client doesn't think about when it comes to this stuff, and that's why they're paying you. They expect a level of professionalism from you, and you better fulfill on that promise. You don't need to be the most creative person to be a product photographer. I'm certainly not. I didn't grow up with a camera in my hand all the time. I didn't draw as a kid. I studied chemistry in college, and I didn't even pick up a camera until well into adulthood. I was willing to learn to get better at photography though. I learned about composition, leading lines, rule of thirds. I practice this stuff every day. People will tell you, "You are so talented, I wish I could do that." When in reality, it's not the talent, it's because you worked hard every single day. You should see some of my older photos. They're atrocious. After I took them, I wasn't like, I'm just not cut out for photography. No, I kept going, probably because I spent hundreds of dollars on a camera. I didn't want that money going to waste. When I was first learning about product photography, I just tried to copy what I saw on Instagram. I saw other brands with amazing photos, and I did my best to recreate them. It was really hard to nail the right lighting, the right prop styling, the right everything. But the more I practiced, the more creative it seems I got. Even today, with all of my client shoots, I pull inspiration from other people's portfolios as well as my own. I put together a mood board for my clients to review before the shoot, and then I shoot the product based on that mood board. I'm not necessarily creating every photo from scratch here. I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from other people out there, as well as my own previous work. Creativity can be learned, just like everything else on this list. It helps to have a little bit of innate creativity, but that's not a requirement. Keep in mind, creativity is just one of the 6 skills on this list. Patience and perseverance. These aren't talked about much in product photography, but they're highly relevant. Good news for you, you've watched this far into the video, so you've already demonstrated that you have patience. Good work. You'll need patience in both your shoots and with your clients. Photo shoots aren't going to go according to plan. Maybe you're trying to take a specific photo and attempt after attempt, it's not looking how you pictured it in your head. At this point, a little patience will go a long way. Try a new lighting setup, switch out the props, be patient, give it a few more tries. I do a lot of action photography, especially with beverages. Those get really messy. The splashes are also unpredictable. When I take those photos, it sometimes takes 10 tries to get everything right, and I feel like giving up. I pour the water, it gets everywhere, and the photo sucks. I need to wipe up all the water, clean up the scene, and redo the photo. That takes a lot of time and requires a lot of patience to get right. I know that I can do it, I just need to give it some more tries. After finally nailing everything, the photo comes out perfectly, and those attempts were worth it. I just needed to demonstrate a little patience there. When you go down this journey of product photography, you'll need perseverance. Clients aren't lining up to work with you. You'll be approaching them and get rejected over and over again. You'll need perseverance to get through this. When your lighting doesn't work, you'll need to figure out what the issue is and persevere through it. It's a long journey to go from a beginner to someone who's good at product photography, and having patience and perseverance will be instrumental in your success. These skills are what you need to become a good product photographer. I didn't talk about the creative business side of things or getting clients much here. That's a whole nother set of skills that you will need. These skills I talked about here will get you good at product photography and set you up for a job in the industry. They won't necessarily make you good at getting clients. That video is coming up in the next few weeks. My name is Chris Pieta, and I will see you in the next one.